So Saturn just switched signs as of the end of March, and today I am talking about the Eastern Indian sidereal astrology. Even though I study West over the past 2 years, I have done a tremendous amount of research on the East, and I have found personally that as an astrologer, the best thing to do with astrology is to combine both systems. I still look at the West a whole bunch, especially regarding personalities, psychology, but I really tend to look at the East now more regarding transits, because I have found in my experience that the Eastern system is a little bit more specific with the transits and the theme of what's going on during certain times of our lives. I do have to say before, like I do every single time, my astrology oracle cards that I created are on sale on my website and all throughout the summer. So you can buy those on there. They have every sign, every house, every planet, the nodes of the moon, a little book I wrote to tell how to do layouts and stuff like that, because that's what I've been doing over the past, 16, 17 years in this business. Is I've always used astrology, even as an intuitive, as a psychic. It's always been about astrology for me. So those are my little gift to you. And like I said, they are on sale on my website. 12ns.com told me to tell you, if you guys want some astrology PDFs of your charts, to go ahead and log in there and put in the coupon code 20 off Joanna, so you can get some discounts on all that. Okay, so let's get into Saturn and what it means with this transit into the sign Pisces. So Saturn takes about 30 years to get around the whole zodiac. It's a slow moving planet, is a malefic. What does malefic mean for those of you guys who are new to astrology? It is not this sweet, soft, lovey-dovey Venus or Jupiter benefics out there. It's kind of like Rahu, Ketu, malefic. It's here to teach us a little bit of the hard lessons that we need to learn. So, like I said, with the Saturn return, when we get to the age of about 30, give or take a couple years, depending on where Saturn is in your chart, they consider that, us astrologers consider that the beginning of adulthood. Pillow just fell on its own. So, okay, so then 30 years later, let's say you didn't learn that lesson you were supposed to learn right there, and it's all dependent on where Saturn is in your chart. Let's say you just didn't learn that lesson. It's going to crop back up again. So I have a personal theory about Saturn, and you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree with this, because, this is just what I think. So between the ages of 30 and 60, it's our second one, we have and then after, because you have a third Saturn in return too, 30 years after 60, you have Saturn in each house for 2.5 years, kind of teaching you little mini lessons throughout the time. And so by the time you get to the next Saturn return, hopefully you're good and have learned what you need to learn. But when Saturn transits, because it is slow, and Saturn rules foundations, the skin, the teeth, the bones. So what Saturn does is it strips away everything you no longer need. Basically, everything that is no longer needed, meaning friends, belief systems, careers. If you don't need it anymore, if it's not going to help you become the person you're supposed to be, Saturn is going to remove it. And so this is why people have such a hard time with Saturn, because it's like, I'm used to doing it this way. I'm used to having these people as friends. This has been my life. Like, I don't want to change. But Saturn's like, no, you are going to grow and evolve. And let me tell you, if you're not growing and evolving and changing, I don't know if that makes a really intelligent person, because we're supposed to be growing, reinventing, redoing, transforming. And that's what Saturn teaches us, along with Pluto, to transform, reinvent, remove, which is what is no longer needed. So each house of the zodiac, of course, is a different area of your life. And depending upon what your rising sign is, that's how you're going to be impacted. Something really important I want to say is when Saturn transits a house, which is 2.5 years. So we've been in this we just switched into Pisces over here on the east. Over there, I'm not on the east, in the east, the end of the month. And Saturn is also changing signs in the west. But like I said, I go more with the east predictions wise right now, because I'm just into it. So we're shifting gears. Our houses are shifting. So there's going to be a change. There's a lot of changes going on, particularly in May. You're going to see a lot of changes in all of our personal lives. So when Saturn is in the first house, when it's transiting the first house, it not only influences that house, but the opposite house. So the first house is me, myself, and I, right? Ruled by Aries. How you look, how you come across. Any planet in the first house is going to color your physical appearance. But it's also impacting the seventh house of relationships, other people. So you might feel restriction around other people or yourself. You might be really having to work hard because Saturn makes you work. It's just the way it is. It's not like Jupiter, you know, it's not like just, oh, let me give you some presents. And Uranus is just like, oh, let me just be crazy and all kind of weird stuff is going to happen. Saturn's slow and steady. And that's why they call it the karmic planet, because whatever, you know, we're evolving with the planet Saturn. It's not a show businessy kind of planet. It's not like all fun, let's have a good time. It's about work. And when you come out of that transit, hopefully, and this is the beauty of learning astrology, you've come out better, smarter, wiser, and more prepared to become the person that God and the universe and the zodiac wants you to be, because it's all about lessons. If it's transiting the second house, this is scary to a lot of people because the second house is our money, and it's also impacting the eighth house of other people's money, you know, taxes, stocks, inheritance, all that kind of stuff. Eighth house is a lot more than that. You know, it's a really, really important house. It's death, rebirth, everything else. But there is, you know, that again, it's like, hey, hold on to your money during this time. When you know it's getting ready to go through your second house, you kind of know what to do. You know what I mean? It's time to start saving. It's time to, and it's the structure, it's the everyday structure that we really have to focus on. When it transits the third house, you're talking about a situation of siblings, neighbors, communication. For those of you who are big into like social media, like TikTok or whatever, all that kind of stuff. I don't do that TikTok or whatever, but there could be issues with that. It's also impacting the ninth house. So you're learning to actually think differently with Saturn there, because that can be your thinking ruled by Mercury in the third house. But also it's like, watch your words, watch what's coming out of your mouth. There could be issues with siblings. There could be issues with neighbors. It's just, I mean, there are issues with Saturn. I can't lie, because it is removing what is no longer needed. So it makes us more kind of like starting at square one to start the reinvention process again through each house. So when it's the fourth house transit, of course, that's the mom, the family, the home, the upbringing, all that. But it's also going to impact the 10th house of career. So you could be possibly having some restrictions and delays with careers, with your career. Fifth house, I just got done with this transit. So not fun. Well, I just talked to a really well-known astrologer the other day, and he was saying in the Eastern system how the fifth house is also the mind. So Saturn sitting over there has been like no motivation and really not wanting to be creative, and kind of really just not wanting to deal with a lot of it. If it's in the fifth, it's also aspecting the 11th, friends, groups, organizations. So when it's in the fifth, it's almost like Saturn's removing people that no longer align with your future and where you're supposed to be going. So that's the 11th house. So when the transit's the fifth, it's like, hey, your idea of a good time is different. Who you're attracted to is different. And your friends are going to be different, because it's not just thrown out there. Like, there is a grand plan in astrology, and you're not supposed to stay the same person or associate with the same people your entire life. You're supposed to grow and change and improve, basically. Saturn, in the end, helps us improve. Sixth house, you're gonna have to work on the day-to-day, work situations. There's gonna be some annoying people, no doubt. Health issues may crop up that you haven't taken care of in a while. I just woke up the other day thinking about somebody's chart. That's what I do. And how he's got Saturn transiting the sixth house. right now, and he just was diagnosed with diabetes, pretty severe. So what it is he's had it a long time, but because of the 6th house transit, it's now coming to the surface, and he needs to address it and take care of it, because Saturn's not gonna let you get away with anything. It's just not. Saturn just doesn't, it's a teacher, you know? 7th house, marriage, relationships, other people. There could be problems within the marriage, or just feeling restricted, feeling tied down, just not a fun free whatever, but could also make you become more serious about relationships if you're not in one and you've never really, you know, wanted to commit to one. This transit could kind of help you kind of buckle down and realize that maybe the party's over, you know. 8th house, you know, it's death and rebirth, and it can be difficult because sometimes, not always, but there can be endings and death around you. But there's also becomes I have noticed almost like a paranoia about other people. I've seen this in people's charts, like, okay, like, let me close myself off, let me not be too involved, you know, let me just detach. Saturn rules detachment. Don't forget, Saturn originally ruled the sign Aquarius until they found Uranus. So, you know, there's a level of leave me alone with Saturn. That's just the way it is. So, and of course, the 8th house is metaphysics, the occult sciences, psychics, astrologers, all that kind of stuff. So there could be more emphasis on that during that time. 9th house is travel, education. There could be some issues with both of those areas if you have a transit of Saturn going through the 9th house. The 10th house, like I said, career, and the 11th house, of course, friends, groups, and organizations. But what the important thing to know is when it hits one house, it's also impacting the opposite house in the zodiac. So it's not just impacting that house, you know, of course, and then there's a million other things with astrology that are going on that we can't talk about in these YouTube videos, but that is what is going on with the planet Saturn. And you know, so again, malefic, not a benefic like Venus and but you know, I'll be honest, you know, I have a friend who I have a good Venus in my chart, but my friend, even though Venus is a benefic, has it's aspected by some malefics. So Venus has been a little bit difficult for her, especially in her Venus dasha, you know, because when she was younger, because of the fact that, you know, she was also dealing with aspects with malefics. So that's it for now. So happy Saturn changing signs. Check out those cards on my website if you want a discount on them, and I will see you next time. Bye.